of your embrace of free markets and democracy. And there are bumps in the road, I'm sure. I don't experience them myself, but patience is a real virtue, and wonderful things will happen. So my activity is twofold. I have a business advising endowments and foundations on how to invest their assets. And they tend to invest in public stock markets, bonds, but also private equity, real estate, and things like that. So I understand how they think. I'm also on the board of the local chapter of the CFA Institute. So this chapter has 8,000 members throughout the New York City financial system. And this local chapter is very much involved in bringing together leaders in the financial community together. So we've had over 3,000 attendees come to our events, and the assets under management of our participants is approximately $10 trillion over the last 2 years. So we are very close to the large insurance companies, the large pension plans, sovereign wealth fund, analysts, and many others. So we understand what they think and how they think. And I want to talk about how they think a lot. They're very much process-driven. They like to do a great deal of financial analysis. And when they invest privately, what they care about are controls and transparency. Controls meaning having a chief financial officer involved, having auditors and audited financial statements, and having access to the information involved. And for that reason, it's a bit of a challenge investing in some places in countries where people care deeply about privacy and the business owners are reluctant to share information. I was seeing that with regard to another country, and the private investor, the investors I know are pushing business owners in that country very hard to develop their own financial statements with audits that they can share. So I will tell you that I'm very encouraged by this person's presentation here, and very much enjoyed hearing the discussion of how they're conducting co-investments in Senegal in a way that conforms, frankly, with the kinds of things that I think institutional investors in America would want to see. And I know American investors tend to be slow and less adventurous, perhaps, than other countries. But I really encourage you to develop what I would call the control and process infrastructure of business in your country, as well as in your government. The beauty of the development of the internet has brought tremendous transparency to U.S. financial markets. And I very much encourage you to continue to invest in your use of the internet and your website so that all these presentations that you have available are available on the web. Having all your legislation available on the web, all of your laws, all your regulations on the web is very helpful. Having local court decisions posted on the web and things like that are also very important, because it's very nice for me to come and hear these presentations. Now, if I go tell the investors I heard these great presentations, they'll say, okay, Chris, now show it to me, right? So I want to be able to show it to them. I've heard it myself, but the way institutional investors work in the West is no one person controls all the money. There's a team, and there's different organizations that look at it. So all those people need to look at it as well. I very much encourage you to do that. But I'm also very excited. Serene Diouk has asked me to join him on a trip to Senegal, and I will be traveling over the next week and a half to visit Senegal, and I'm very excited by it. If there are investments that make sense for investors I know, we will pursue those. And I'm encouraged. I have seen many investors investing large amounts of money in low return markets. It's a real challenge in America when bond interest rates are 2%. Okay, so they should look further, but the investors in America are also very worried. They can look at emerging markets and say the returns are 30%, but they fear that they'll mess something up, that there wasn't something done in a perfect way. And because of that one risk, they'll forgo the 30% for the 2%. And I know it's crazy,
but that kind of thing happens. So we have to push hard in both directions. I need to push investors here, and I very much encourage you to do everything you can to conform the way you're doing business in the government and the private sector toward what we want. And at that point, you'll have very special things happen. So thank you very much.